What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flacco with a convict's perspective, and I'm gonna smash, dash, and slide on through that little bit of energy. Hope everybody's having a good morning, man. Stay inspired, keep it striving. Okay, so please hit the like, subscribe, comment, all those things to help support this channel, and hit that bell notification, man. As you know, your boy Flacco was always coming with that heat. And someone made a comment on yesterday's video, so man, I thought, man, you know what? That totally makes sense. You know, some things were in question, right? We go back to Armando Quinn. Armando Quinn, he held an authority position. He was killed by the towers trying to remove an individual named Grumpy from Gilroy, right? So I was always trying to put two and two together. There's a couple things I was thinking. I was like, well, you know what? Armando Quinn hasn't gotten no body for the O. Maybe he's doing this to maybe in the future try to assert himself in a position as a general. I don't know. It could be a variety of reasons. Some people thought maybe he owed cleanup because he was on freeze around, I think, 2017, 2018 for speaking out and some other issues. So there's a whole lot of different variables that were being put out there potentially. And in some ways, they all kind of made a little bit of sense, right? But one made more sense than anything. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. Me and Rojo both have. And that is when the removal of a Garnat sanction, right? Technically, he's supposed to be taken out. When it's called for his expulsion and he's expelled from the organization, he's supposed to be taken out. And that's supposed to be done by Garnat. It's supposed to be done by no Northerner. It's supposed to be done by no North Daniel or none of that. Now, let's look back to around, what was it? July. The spill we did yesterday, okay, about Smilone getting hit, right? So I question, like, okay, if there's carnales on that yard, right? Why wouldn't they have done it themselves? You know what I'm saying? If there was let me see, I think there was 4 total carnales on that yard. One of them was undercover, I believe, Kirby from Gilas, and another individual, I forgot his name. Why do I want to say Rhino from Tulare County or something like that? In any event, there was 4 on that yard. Okay, so when that removal happened and they killed the C, I was like, well, hold on, man. You know, why didn't other NF members do this hit? It's the same thing that when Lucky Mendoza got hit. You know, when Lencho and all them were there, and Huicho and then Gonzo, I'm like, whoa, why didn't one of them try to take him out? And why did the Insoldados do it? Right? So this is what someone put in the comments. They said, yeah, they confirmed that they heard that Smilone had started to use again, right? And that part of the reason why they moved on Grumpy was because he was supposed to be the one to hit Smilone, but instead he sent some ends to do it. Makes total sense, man. That right there is grounds for basically fucking those youngsters could have been deemed no good over that. You know what I'm saying? If someone gives a directive to take out a Cardinal and it's done by the hands of some ends and they're not really involved in the mix or involved, there should at least be a Cardinal there. Even when Bad Boy went to go hit Brown Bob, he was there. You know what I'm saying? But they had an Soldado with him. Just like in this case with Armando Quinn, they had an Soldado assisting him. So everybody was questioning, and that makes sense now. And maybe he was the only one that had access to get to Smilone. Sometimes they mix the yards who come out, right? So this made total sense to me. What everybody was questioning was, why was Armando Quinn doing the removal? Well, this is why, because he was a C, and he probably wanted to lead by example. You know what I'm saying? And show others that, look, everybody has to put in their work. And as opposed to Smilone, who was supposed to hit, that's Smilone, Grumpy was supposed to hit Smilone, but he sent some ends to do it, which this makes sense to me, man. Like, I was trying to figure this out, and a lot of us had some unanswered questions to this, man. So if you think about it, this dude gets hit, he gets killed. The ends that do it, a few months later, bam, they try to hit Grumpy. You know what I'm saying? So Grumpy did hold a position of authority. I think he was sealed up with Kirby for a minute. And I think he got Kirby involved in a couple cross-up situations. So there's a lot of things that were questionable about Grumpy. And since Grumpy had got there, right, they had already been bumping heads a little bit with Mondo. But Mondo had been a C for a long time, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was the last C before there was a end all hostilities and all the NF members got released out the shoes. He was the last NF member to be out there on the main line. And I think he was out there, what was it, in the 2000s, I believe. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, in retrospect of everything that's happened, man, you know, it seems like you just lost two Carnales based upon 3 actually, because Grumpy's out is going to be pretty much a wrap for him anyways now. So now within a matter of fucking July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. In like 6 months, you had 3 carnales that were lost that were previously functioning before this. You know what I'm saying? Each had their own issues, except for Mondo. You know what I'm saying? And they lost their lives. You know what I'm saying? In other words, if Grumpy would have sent, if Grumpy would have handled this himself, he would still be in good standings, and Mondo would still be alive. Point blank. You know what I mean? And who's to say that fucking Grumpy would have went full force with it? He probably would have hit him and fucking half stepped it. I mean, I don't know Grumpy personally. I know he has some family members that have been doing time and that were involved in the mix. You know what I'm saying? But looking at this whole situation, it kind of, like I said, it makes sense, man. Because I know everybody was questioning it. Why did Mondo going on this hit? Because the C's supposed to take out another C. Why did Grumpy get hit? Well, because he fucking put this task in the hands of two ends. Allegedly put the task in two ends. Like I said, allegedly two ends did it. So I think anybody will pretty much reiterate that. It makes sense. That's why there was always questions. See, the only time really an end is supposed to raise his hand towards a carnal is if there's been directives towards that carnal, and if they feel threatened by him, and that's been the orders. You know what I'm saying? There was one time a directive that came out towards Wino and Carlitos and stuff, and I said, "What the fuck are they sending out there?" They said, "If these C's raise their hand towards you or anything, go ahead and take off." And I was like, "Man, that's some fucked up shit that they put out there, man." Say En Soldado took action because of what these dudes were filtering out there, that En Soldado or Northerner would have got fucking crossed up and deemed. You know what I'm saying? There was the issue that happened with Mark Aja Rodriguez in San Quentin, where there was a fucking, basically everybody was talking about it, about removing Cobb because they seen his actions were straight out of a fucking degenerate, right? But if anybody would touch them, they would have got deemed. It has to go through the higher authority process. And you just can't send anybody on that mission. That's why I always question the decision and how they sent people on Lucky. You know what I'm saying? Why did they have to do it there? If it was that he's deemed and expelled from the organization, they should have waited till he got up to the bay, dealt with him there, or dealt with him on the spot. They could have waited on that. Instead, they sent two $2 on him. And I think part of that was because is that a lot of people knew it was a wrong decision. And if the C would have been taking action, they probably would have been, they would have been crossed up in it by the state and feds. It would have been basically a conflict, man. But in any event, man, yeah, I mean this all makes sense, man. Technically, I think it's the same thing with the big homies from down south, because I know there was one individual that got crossed up because he took action on behalf of them somewhere else. And it's just the same way with them. Only a carnal could touch another carnal. Now you could have someone assist you, right? But basically, that carnal there has to be a carnal involved in the mix. That's from my understanding. Same thing with the NF. Technically, a carnal is supposed to do the fucking hit. If you're going to live by an organization, you're going to die by that organization. You're not going to die by the hands of those that are supposed to be under them, because then it becomes a disrespectful issue. You know what I'm saying? That's why they put Mongo Quinn and sold up a Big Smiley back in the days, because this was going to be his fucking blood in, was to try to take out Big Smiley. You know what I'm saying? They will do those situations. If a dude is about to be embraced as a carnal, they will send the fucking dude in on him to try to take him out. Anyways, yeah, this was I see it in the comment, man, and see, I didn't think about that because I didn't know all that information, and it makes total sense to me. It does, man. I don't have anything to corroborate it or confirm it, but to me it makes a fucking whole lot of sense, because why would Smilone get hit, but then this dude Smilone get hit by ends, but then this dude gets hit by the fucking dude that's running the whole facility, because Mondo Quinn was basically the only seat that was accessible to get him. So yeah, man, this shit's kind of crazy, man. All this stuff that's been going on the last 6 months, man, it's crazy how within 6 months you basically lost 3 carnals. 2 died, and 1 pretty much is all in the hat now. That's how life goes sometimes, though, right? Sometimes it be like that, man. Anyways, this is your boy Flacco. Quick spill. I'm gonna have some more content, man, but I decided to elaborate on this, man, because I think it adds to all the stories I've been dropping, and it gives you guys a little bit of inside details of, okay, now everything can kind of connect the dots and make a little bit more sense. As opposed to before, nobody had any answers. There was rumors, there was speculation. Now that everything's been laid out, to me, it makes a lot more sense. With that said, it's your boy Flacco with Convict's Perspective. I'm gone.